What is good everyone, Chris here, welcome back to the channel, and as you can tell I'm in a better mood today. I am gonna talk to you about this beautiful camera and tell you a few things that I really enjoyed during the period that I used this camera, which is around 6 months, and things that I can say I kinda hate about it, but mostly like, because I don't have much to say bad about this camera. Call me biased, call me fanboy, I am not, but if that's what your thing, just go ahead and do it. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, because that matters to me and that's how you're supporting me. And let's get to it. First of all, I remember when I opened the box 6 months ago that I was genuinely impressed and showed it on camera, because I'm not faking anything. I was very impressed of the way this camera looked and looks, and also how it felt in hand, and I'm still there. I still enjoy the way this camera looks, and I think it's one of the most beautiful cameras on the market these days. The design resembles the FM2 old SLR line that Nikon used to build many years ago, and that's a great thing, because I remember another camera, the Nikon DF, that everyone hated or everyone loved. Just like that one, this one gets the same thing, either love or hate. There are a lot of videos telling you that this is just an Z50 in a different body. There are a lot of videos telling you that this is the camera for you. Now, I'm not gonna push it that way. I'm not gonna tell you what's better for you, because you know better than me. I will tell you that the design of this camera is the first thing that I enjoy, and it's the camera that I'm grabbing the most every time when I'm going out, because the way it looks, and it gives me that confidence that I have a camera in hand, that not necessarily a black brick. I love the dials, I love the knobs, I love the fact that it has 2 dials, front and back. I also love the fact that Nikon came up with a flip side screen, and that is the first thing that I enjoyed. I will probably sound hipster, but these days I think flip up screens or flip over screens, or these flip side screens, are very important in any cameras. And we're in 2022, people are trying to get into becoming a content creator, or they're hybrid shooters, shooting video and photos. So this is a very useful tool. Also, you can film and photograph yourself in a certain situation. You can do time lapses in different angles. You can shoot landscapes, and come on, let's be honest, a flip side screen or a flip over or flip up screen, it is important in 2022. So this is along with the design, 2 things that I really love about this camera. Now, another thing is the form factor and the weight of the camera. It is very light, and some might argue that it's made of plastic, that's why it's light. It is, and it does have metal as well, but it's not a weather sealed camera like my Z6 II. It's just a camera to grab and enjoy, not necessarily think about the specs and the technicalities and if it's weather sealed or not. Just grab it, shoot photos with it like you were doing it in the past with your SLR, or if you didn't, at least you have the chance to enjoy those moments with this new and very well feature-packed camera. And again, I think that being light, it's nice, and it's a portable camera, very portable. If you are adapting any kind of old lenses, especially pancake lenses, that will work well. If you're using the kit lens, the 16-50 I think, or 16-55, again, it's a very small lens that is half this one. I'm not sure if it's pocketable, but the light it is, you won't feel it in your hand or hanging on your neck all day, and that is a great thing for a camera like this. Now, because we're talking about holding the camera and keeping it, there are a few things that I want to mention, and that is that the grip right here that you're seeing, it's not the original grip of the camera. Camera didn't come with any kind of grip, it's flat, and if I'm getting to move this little knob here, I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is a cold grip from Small Rig that I definitely recommend. This grip is beautiful. This video is not sponsored or anything. Actually, I think Small Grip contacted me at some point to sponsor or to help me do these videos and send me other products. So we're talking about it, but I am definitely not sponsored by them. So again, back to what I was saying, this camera doesn't have any kind of grip in front. Just like the XE4, as you can tell, it's flat, fully flat. There are no buttons other than the dials and another button right here, which is an FN button, and the button release for the lens. So the look, again, it's very vintage, but this can be cumbersome for some, and if you have cumbersome for some, it is a little bit weird, especially if you have medium to large hands, like I mentioned in other videos. You will be hardly pressed to hold this camera very tight because of the lack of grip. So this is where this one comes in handy, and it's a very nice build. It's built out of aluminum and it matches the colors on the camera perfect. It takes only 5 seconds to put it on, or 10 seconds, tightening it on, and then it locks in, and you have a camera that you can hold, and it's very, very grippy. So that is something that you should know if you like grippy cameras. This one doesn't have a grip. You have to invest in another grip. This, I don't know, it's about 35, 40 bucks. Something like that. So not a huge deal, but still more money to pay for. Now, another thing that I love about this camera is the image quality, and I was very, very impressed when I matched this camera with my Z6 II for weddings and events and portraits, and realized that this camera does very, very well, pretty much the same image quality as my full frame camera. But if you really want to pick up on these kind of things, it's an APS-C sensor, so you won't have that shallow depth of field with every lens that you're shooting. You have to adapt. If you want more, you have to go for a longer focal length with a shallower aperture or a faster aperture, 1.8 or an f2. When with that one, you can shoot f4 and have pretty much the same shallow depth of field. Also, the bokeh looks nice. The sensor renders black and white very nice. Also, it renders colors in the same way as any other Nikon camera. There is no difference. You can match these cameras fast without having any kind of issues, and I'm doing that every time I'm shooting events because I mostly use presets that I build for my weddings, and it's hard to all the time go back and tweak everything if the colors are not there, if the white balance it's totally messed up. Well, this one is on par with the Z6 II in terms of image quality, and that is a great thing. Now, you should also know that this one is a 20 megapixel sensor, not a 24 megapixel or 26 megapixel or 30 megapixel sensor. It's a smaller sensor in terms of megapixels, but that will not affect the image quality much. Actually, it makes it a little bit better in low light, and the low light performance on this sensor is great. I can definitely shoot 6400 ISO without having any kind of issues, without bothering to do a lot of noise reduction, and that matches the Z6 II, which is probably the most amazing sensor in low light I've ever shot, and that's great. I kind of love the image quality, and that's why I'm grabbing it all the time. Now, the last thing, and this is intentionally left to be the last one, is well, I'm gonna say it. The AF in video, at least on this camera, is awesome. It's better than my Z6 II, and I tested it in all kinds of situations. I tested it in all kinds of settings, and I matched the settings on both cameras to find out that this one is better than my Z6 II. You can tell right now the Z6 II is filming me, and if I'm putting this here, there is a little bit of a latency, though these two are matched in terms of settings. So if I'm switching back to the ZFC, you will probably see a huge difference in the autofocus tracking as well as the autofocus speed. This one tracks my face and the eye very well, and it's probably because it was built to be more like a vlogger camera, I think. Again, a hipsterish camera that will help you vlog, and that is great. But Nikon, how about a firmware upgrade for the Nikon Z6 II or the Z6 or the Z7 II as well? Those who are complaining about the autofocus in video are exactly these guys who are into these cameras, and I love my Z6 II, and I want it to be this way because I want to do videos like this and not be always constrained by the fact that if I'm moving my hand, the camera is gonna lose focus on my face, or so on and so forth. And again, the settings are matching, so I'm not doing better things on this one to prove that the Z6 II is worse. I'm just matching everything to be able to shoot, and I love to shoot with full frame videos like this. This room is not big enough to create that shallow depth of field and to make it look a little bit bigger than that's my goal. So I have to basically shoot with the full frame, but I can't because this one is better and I trust the AF in this one more. And that is with the likes. Now I'm gonna mention all the things that are a little bit weird about this camera. First and foremost, again, they put a small window here to be able to check the aperture when you are changing it. You won't probably be able to see what's going on here, and it's the aperture, but it's not useful at all. Nobody's gonna look there to see their aperture. We'll probably look on the screen or in the EVF, or if you have a lens like this one that has an aperture ring and squeaks as well, you probably look on the lens, not on this small, very weird and quirky window right here in between these three buttons that basically creates shadows over it and will take off all the brightness of this screen, which is not bright at all anyway. Another thing that I don't really like is the fact that these knobs are made out of some sort of plastic, and they feel cheap, but still to be able to have them and use them, it's great. Though again, buttons are not feeling very premium. When you're shooting a full frame camera that is built like a tank and then you get back to this one, well, it's a big difference. Another gripe, and this one is entitled, is the battery. Not a very big battery because the camera is small. These NEL 25s are basically food for your pockets because you have to have 3 or 4, especially if you're going out for more than 3-4 hours. You won't hold you much, around 250-300 shots, something like that. But I was impressed that how you can preserve battery on these Nikon cameras. And if you're not shooting bursts and if you're shooting street photography, it will probably hold you more than that. Still a gripe, still a bad thing to not be able to go with a battery for, half a day. And if you're traveling, if you're shooting street photography, if you're hiking, if you're a landscape photographer, that is a bit cumbersome. Also, just like the XE4, the tripod mount right here on the back, and now I have the grip on, and that moves the tripod a little bit up or closer to the screen. But if you are putting a bigger Arca Swiss plate, not the small ones, they will block the door for sure. And good thing about this grip is that it has this Arca Swiss plate in it. It's built in it, so you can move the camera sideways on the tripod and that won't affect the door. But if you're putting the Arca Swiss plate on, it will block the door for sure. Maybe a very small one, I'm not sure, and make it vertically, not horizontally. I have no idea, but still that's a weird thing. And I was thinking about shooting some landscape photography with this one to compare it with the Z6 II and give you an insight about that. So we'll talk more about that then. Also, this camera doesn't have an joystick, and like I said in my previous videos, this is the only one that doesn't have in my whole arsenal. It's weird. It's not nice to always, you know, go with the D-pad, but I remember doing that when I was shooting with my D750, I think, 600, maybe, and also with the Sony cameras that I shot in the past, the new ones that didn't have that joystick. It's a must, and Nikon should know that. And this information button, info button right here, that basically doubles up as a quick menu, should have been moved somewhere on the side and just put a joystick in for another 50 bucks. I think that will have worked with this camera, though it will probably kill the vibe of being vintage. And that is it with the ZFC. If that helped in any way, I will be very thankful if you leave a thumbs up, and if you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and other kinds of videos that I'm preparing for you guys. Also, don't forget to stay focused, my friends. Shoot whatever you have, shoot more, create every day, and I will definitely see you in a bit.